Ask the Expert, here to answer your questions live on the air about journaling is therapist Julianna Lyddon. All right, our first one comes from Leslie from Phoenix. What is the difference between having a journal versus a diary, or is it the same thing?
It kind of is the same thing.
Yeah.
I think in our day, we maybe used a diary a little bit differently,
Yes.
you know, like Dear Diary and, you know, going through
I
our
did,
kids.
yeah.
Right. But it is a form of journaling. Journaling today, we can provide more prompts for ourselves. You know, we can set up, okay, I'm going to talk about, like we said, mindfulness. I'm going to talk about my emotions or what's
Anxiety,
going on.
whatever's
Yeah,
going
exactly.
Okay. All right. Esther in Mesa asks, what is your recommendation to find a new therapist, and how do you decide whether you need a therapist or a psychologist?
Okay, this is, so it depends.
Okay.
If you want to use your insurance, you can go start that way and start to look at who's, you know, provided. But I say to people, you call this person, they're working for you. So you need to interview them and go through until you find somebody that feels like it's a fit.
Yeah.
The other thing is the difference between the therapist and psychologist is more of a degree, meaning the psychologist is a PhD.
Okay.
They might typically be a better diagnostician.
Right.
So, but it's really about a fit. I say it's
Yeah.
about a fit. See, I do a lot of coaching too. It's about you know, if
You
you
got to
feel
find the right
comfortable.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do.
exactly. Who understands you and can help you. Emily asks, what are some examples of topics to journal about? Oh, I like this.
Well, you can journal about some of those things when you feel like you're really stuck and you really want to look at what is creating that stuckness, because people think, oh, I'm stuck because I'm in this environment, I'm in this landscape, I'm in
Right.
this town, I'm with this guy, whatever it is. But it's really about what's going on in your internal world.
Okay.
So the better you can get at writing down how you're feeling,
Yeah.
why you're feeling stuck, what's, you know, causing some of that, that's going to
Right.
make a big difference.
Yeah, and maybe give you some clarity.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Tanya from Phoenix says, I would love for my daughter to start a journal. How do I get her to start and make it a habit?
So I recommend for parents that you start the prompt. So you might say, hey, why don't you maybe talk about or write about what some of your goals are for today at school?
Oh, I
Or
like that.
maybe, you know, something else related to that.
Yeah.
And that really helps them kind of get in the groove of how this is going to look.
Yeah, with my daughter, it's like hit or miss. You know, we'll go on a camping trip, and I'm like, Zoe, why don't you write about, you know, what was your favorite part,
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And then she doesn't, and it's like, oh, okay, that's it. Next camping trip, like 3 months later.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
an idea too.
Yeah,
But you know,
something.
it's whatever parents think of what you want them to start looking at. It can be related to school or, like you said, travel, all kinds of things.
Right, okay. Darlene says, sometimes when I write to release my anxiety and emotions, I get all worked up again. How do I prevent this and make it more cathartic?
It is. So I started to kind of talk about a little bit of that in the segment with this piece of paper lined down the middle. When you get anxious, a lot of times we go down that hole. So start writing down all those anxious thoughts. But on the other side, what's super powerful is write what maybe isn't true about that. So for example, when we're in that hole spinning, when we are stopped in that pause, we can see that maybe some of that isn't necessarily true. Right? It's become exaggerated. It's become bigger than life.
Right.
And at that time, you can kind of stop and go, whoa, okay, I could put the brakes on for a minute.
Yeah. And then you also talked about reflecting and how big of a difference that can make too.
It's so big.
Yeah.
When you start to write and you're creating this over time, going back, I have clients do that and they come in, hey, look back last month.
Yeah.
See where you were.
Right. And how much you've grown.
Right.
Yeah.
And it always feels so good to see that progress.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Okay, I want to start journaling now.
I know.
Okay, I'm going to do it for real. Julianna, thank you so much. Always great to have you.